So, the country of Greece is on fire again this year as it was last year, and someone mentioned it to me in the comments section, and I tried to reply to them with this video that I made last year showing that the minister of Greece arrested 79 arsonist scum for the out-of-control fires raging in Greece that have killed at least 21 innocent people. Apparently this person says that's where you should focus, on the truth. And people who watch this channel know those 79 people are the innocent ones. These fires are not capable of being perpetrated by regular human beings with conventional means. But I make a pretty good case in this video that I made last year that it is the moral and ethical thing to do to keep 8 billion savages from tearing each other apart, to keep the people in the dark, even if you need to pin a few patsies and parade them around in public and say, we caught the culprit, everyone, we got it figured out, we got it under control now. It was these 79 arsonist scum. There's also people being prosecuted in California for fires they could not have possibly been the perpetrator of. And when I tried to post this link in my own comments section to my own video, it would not allow it. I've never experienced that before. I cannot post links in other people's comments section. I quit trying a long time ago, because if you include a link of any video in a comment in someone else's comment section, it automatically just rejects the comments. But I've never had trouble posting a link in my own comments section. And this was a link of one of my own videos that I tried to post in my own comment section of one of my other videos, and it will not let it post. With that, I'm just going to re-air this video from last year, tell you Greece is on fire again, and they're going to have to come up with something even better than that, because apparently those 79 arsonist scum that they arrested didn't actually solve the problem. Ergo, they were never the problem to begin with. This is why the blue herring matters, because taking the evidence into a courtroom trying to convince people that blue things didn't burn is not going to get these people out of jail, but demonstrating that electricity is flowing through the wood would get these people out of jail. But I can also make a case that it's the moral, ethical thing to do, to put these people in jail, to keep the other 8 billion people on the planet from turning into total savages and tearing each other apart, in order to maintain the thin veneer of polite society for the remainder of the time that we have here. By the end of this video, I'll go over a small piece of some of these videos that I have. One of them, this one, titled Illustrating the Directional Flow of Undirected Energy, where I go over these wooden pieces that I have cut down and lacquered. And there's about 5 of these videos where I go over the hard evidence that I've collected over the 5 years that I've been doing this. And these pieces illustrate that it is electricity flowing through the wood which would free those people from jail. Just kind of doing this right now since I'm doing it. But all along this thing, the burn line follows the grain. And I started right over here because it shows you how it does a 180. Right there around that corner, as the grain does a 180, so does the burn line. Anywho, this one's one, there's a couple others. The reason I say I should have a turntable, this one, it does the spiral burn, but you can't really see it unless you turn it. And if you turn it, if you had it on a turntable, you could really see the spiral burn that starts right here up top. and goes down in and through the piece. So it's almost like impossible to see unless you're at the right angle. And get someone to spin it for you. That's one of the new pieces, so we'll call that one covered. On the spinny, twisty burn pattern, this one literally does a barrel roll right through there, and you're looking through the hole of where it does the barrel roll. Corkscrew burn. And that's just one. It does two. So that's the top one, where it does a corkscrew burn, a full 360, leaving this part unburned. Alright. And then you follow it back to here, and we got another one. Because it actually starts burning right here. Burns inside there. That's one full revolution up to the point of the corkscrew, and then it keeps spinning the same way for another full revolution right there. Because it starts on this branch right there. Burns this way once, and then another spin right there. Pretty cool, huh? So, this is one of the new pieces. Here it doesn't quite do another corkscrew. You can see here it spins around that way and then kind of weaves over this way and then just kind of wanders back on the burn line. Wanders back and forth a bit, kind of like both of these. You can see how the wood doesn't actually corkscrew, but it twists back and forth a couple times, and the burn line goes with it. So in this case, unlike the demonstration I was giving before, where it appears that the energy flows up and through the tree and out in a very specific direction, actually this one kind of does. It gives a full 360 right there to right here. Yeah, there's a corkscrew in this one. It's just right there at the very bottom where I was thinking about cutting it off. That kind of sucks. Anyway, so in the case of these, it doesn't go up and out in one direction. It actually goes down the branch. So you can tell that the same rule doesn't apply as one branch. So you can tell that the same rule doesn't apply as when in the case where it seems to go up and through the branch and out in a very specific direction, and they all exhibit the same burn pattern. These ones are probably some of the coolest, exhibiting the best lines and curves, and they're the easiest to get. So for like beginners, start with sagebrush. These are actually the coolest. But the overall point here is that it's electricity flowing through the wood. You can see that because the burn line follows the grain of the wood, ergo no human is capable of producing this type of a fire. Set the 79 innocent people free. Case closed. You take this evidence in the courtroom, it's an open and shut case. You go in there, start trying to tell them, oh, blue things didn't burn, look! And they're going to laugh you right out of the courtroom. But on the other hand, we kind of need a good cover story, because if the 8 billion people on the planet knew what the people on this channel know, it would be over. These ones I've got, and they're the sagebrush ones. This is the unit. All of these pieces exhibit electricity flowing through them, whether they're hollowed out in the middle or they give the type of burn patterns that I just went over. These all illustrate that there's electricity flowing through the wood. This would be Exhibit A in the defense of the accused arsonists. So let's go over what a red herring is, and then just for fun, we'll call that a blue herring, where they lead you down the path to look at everything that didn't burn, which was blue. Let's talk about what a red herring is. A red herring may be intentionally used by the writer to plant false clues that leads readers or audiences towards a false conclusion. It is a distraction device that causes people to become sidetracked from the main issue and draw wrong conclusions. The 79 people they arrested and accused of arson are a red herring to mislead people in order that they do not come to the correct conclusion and understanding about what's causing these fires. That's why they arrest people. And it makes me wonder who those 79 people are. Surely they didn't just pick 79 random people. Those are people they wanted to bring in and said, we're just going to bring you in on arson. And no one's going to question it. We'll say we suspect you of arson, and everyone will say, hell yeah, lock them up. Hang them high. Those 79 people they brought in are probably not just average Joe innocent people. They're probably people that they wanted to bring in for other reasons, off the books. Anyway, the 79 people they arrested is a red herring designed to mislead people to erroneous conclusions about the cause of these fires and pacify people to cause them to believe we've got it under control, we've figured out the cause, we've applied a remedy, those people are now in jail, you're all safe, don't worry your pretty little heads, just keep going about your normal lives. Investing in your 401k and in your retirement package, because if everyone knew what's really going down, they would shift their retirement fund to their bucket list and the economy would come to a grinding halt, and we need everyone to just keep going about their business until the very end. So we need to pacify them and give them these cover stories about arsonists so they don't catch wind of what time it really is. When a gaslighter throws a red herring into an argument, they confuse, obscure, and distract from the perspective and goal of the other individual. If you say something is a red herring, you mean that it is not important and it takes your attention away from the main subject or problem that you are considering. Here is some of the most recent fires from Louisiana, and you can see that the trees still have the leaves and pine needles on them, but the ground is scorched and the tree bark is scorched because it's not flame attacking the tree from the outside, it's electricity coming through the ground and up through the tree. Notice all the leaves on the trees that he's about to show. All the leaves are still there. Wait for it. All the pine needles are still there. All the leaves are still there. But the wood itself, look at all those leaves. And the ground is scorched, yet the leaves on the trees still remain. I'd just like to take this moment to let you know that every single fire burning around the planet right now is plasma fire. You can find these same burn signature patterns in every single fire. We're burning from coast to coast in the United States and Canada and just about everywhere else around the world. I won't launch into it right now. Someone asked me for some of my pieces of wood Those are for the world. Those belong in a place like the Vatican archive of this moment in human history that no one else is documenting. So no, I won't be giving away any of these pieces of wood for someone to put in their basement and try to impress their friends. That belongs to humanity. Those pieces of wood contain science, art, psychology, sociology. The science of how this fire works can be seen when you look at those pieces of wood. You can see the electricity coursing through the wood as the burn line follows the grain. Ergo, the science of how plasma fire works is embedded in those pieces of wood. They are artistic. And the psychology and the sociology of the fact that this is now my 7th summer documenting plasma fire and the public is still in the dark. That is a psychology and sociology case study in and of itself that will have to be identified and label a phenomenon like plasma fire disorder, where people manage to block things out of their perception to such a degree that no one imagined was ever even possible until we watched it and saw it happen. Here's another example of the same thing from Nephi, Utah, plasma fire, where I show the fence posts have all the same burn patterns. They're impossible in regular fire, but notice all the leaves. The ground is scorched, but the trees still have their leaves on them. For some reason it's a little bit blurry right now, but it's a 35-minute long video. Plenty of examples. Notice that fence post? That's what I'm really focusing on, is that that's impossible for it to burn up there 3/4 of the way on the bottom and leave the top completely unburned. A very fine line between burn and unburn. That's impossible if flames on the outside, fire as we understand it, is what burned the bottom 3/4 of the pole. It wouldn't have made an abrupt stop right there, and it would have scorched the outer wood of the fence post. Yet you have unburned leaves on the trees all around with scorched, ground scorch I call it. Here's another fence post up here with the same exact burn pattern. My point here is the leaves, and you can see that fire in Louisiana that they're showing you is also leaving the leaves on the trees. Electricity is the component, not the color of things that didn't burn. That's a red herring or a blue herring. So in one of my recent videos, I said that it is natural electricity. People are saying, you said it was a natural fire, and it's not. I said the electricity is natural. It is a natural electrical fire. We'll talk more about that in a minute. People got that a little bit twisted. Let's go over some information just to satisfy your appetite for dew and directed energy weapon talk. Let's go over this. James Grundvig wrote an article within a day or two after the Maui fires where he references my video and even links to one of my videos where I 4 years ago covered one of his articles titled Sunspots and Cell Towers Fueled the California Fires. So this is his website, theburningplatform.com. James Grundvig. The Maui fire investigators and local government will soon label the firestorm that nuked Lahaina but left its green trees standing in place but wilted either as arson or climate change. No matter what, big media will amp up the verdict. Pre-conclusion as climate boiling. The gaslighting jackals will not wait for any type of investigation, whether rigged or not, to hive drone the noise that the world is coming to an end due to overpopulation and dwindling resources. Beyond natural wildfire or ground level arson fires, there is a third and far more likely source for the firestorm: directed energy weapons. The wine country fires. In 2017, I investigated the raging firestorm that burned hundreds of structures in Santa Rosa, California in early October. The week that preceded, the air temperatures in Santa Rosa and over the mountains in Napa Valley were normal for that time of year, low to mid 80s, but rather dry. Oops, I gotta move this over. After weeks of research and interviewing local residents, I published Sunspots and Cell Towers Fueled the Northern California Firestorm, 2 days before Thanksgiving. The then proto-substack called Medium.com ended up canceling my post and writings in early 2018. Why? I stepped on the third rails of HAARP and 5G, and that the false claims of arson fires were a cover-up to the truth. On YouTube, an enterprising digital soldier, Jeff Snyder 2, posted a 13-minute video rehashing and going over the details of my investigative article in a video found here that's still up 4 years later. What I saw in 2017 and what I see today in Maui are one and the same events. Only microwave technology, as in whether military lasers or HAARP, can explain how the structures not only burned down, but melted kitchen appliances, bathtubs, metal alloy, wheel rims, and far more. Just by chance or fate, I visited a medicinal plant in Fairplay, Colorado. On the return trip to the hotel I was staying at in Denver, I drove through the valley with three or four houses burned in a natural wildfire, along with the trees and foliage I captured in the above photo. Compare the natural wildfire burnt trees to the images of the unharmed trees in both Santa Rosa 2017 and Lahaina 2023. That is a major tell, and I captured it in my 6-year-old article, Trees, Housing Materials, Microwave Effect. The wildfires weren't wild at all. The houses cooked from the inside out. They often burned from the top of the roofs, incinerating the walls and floors and appliances and cladding down to the foundation. Yet 90% of the trees on the property remained standing with leaves on the branches, not burnt, but merely dried out. It was as if a neutron bomb had been detonated, burning everything man-made but leaving the greenery alone. And this paragraph on microwave impact. If you put tinfoil in a microwave oven, it will spark with flames shooting about, giving off an orange halo glow. It's not the metal that catches fire, but the aluminum oxide coating. When superheated by microwave energy, the coating releases oxygen on the surface, engorging the material to burn even hotter. This is a phenomenon known as field-activated combustion synthesis. Like a Duraflame log, the self-sustaining oxygen fuels the flames, as had been seen with the ceramic roof tiles and the metals used to build, materials that do not burn in a normal forest fire. Maui burns from dew fires. Understanding the true nature of the firestorm will be key to exposing the enemy. We know from directed energy weapons experts such as Eric Heckler at the end of the video, and James Martinez, the MKUltra survivor, a recent guest on the Unrestricted Truths, that dew weapons target humans, not only the chemtrail spraying confirmed as fact, but also dew weapons such as HAARP, that were suspected of causing the earthquake in Turkey at the start of this year, confirmed as well. It is well past time for the digital soldiers, patriots, truthers, conservatives, and free people to educate themselves and share the truths and specs on how various dew weapons work, from handheld brainwave-altering devices to the massive billion-volt antenna arrays of HAARP found in Alaska, and now, thanks to whistleblower Eric Hecker and James Martinez, Antarctica. So when I say that these are natural electrical fires, I don't mean that there are not directed energy weapons. In fact, I've cited the one that I believe is proof, the 5 Secret Service vehicles that burned at the airport. There is no argument that those were not targeted. The only argument that could be made is that they weren't targeted with a directed energy weapon, and somehow there was some sort of incendiary device placed under the hood of each one of those cars. Otherwise, that case is the one where you can prove For all of the rest of these fires, there is room for reasonable doubt when trying to convince the average person. But you show them those 5 Secret Service vehicles and there is no room for reasonable doubt that they were targeted. Then the only question, is it directed energy? Or was it some sort of more conventional incendiary device placed under the hood? Either way, when I say that these are natural electrical fires, I'm pointing toward the source of the energy. When I say the term plasma fire, I'm not differentiating between directed energy and intentional, or non-directed and something more random. I'm indicating the source of the energy. Natural electrical fires. The electricity that they're tapping into and directing when they are directing it is the same electricity that appears to be popping up at random here and there and everywhere over the past 5 years. Just like the Earth has a magnetic field, it also has an electric field, and that's what they're tapping into in order to generate this level of energy. When you can see that the electricity is flowing through the wood, that electricity is not being produced by a hydroelectric plant, a nuclear power facility, wind turbines, or hydroelectric dams. As we typically understand electricity to be generated and manufactured, that electricity is already naturally existing in the atmosphere around us and has been tapped into and is capable of being directed. However, I also think as part of the natural cycle that we're going through of a pole shift, where there are these fluctuations in the magnetic field, it creates a surge of ground current that may be more random and not directed. So when I say these are natural electrical fires, I'm just replacing the word plasma. Because when I call these plasma fires, people go, well, what's plasma? But if you tell them it's an electrical fire, they understand what electricity is. They even understand a little bit about what microwave is, how you can put... Sorry to interrupt myself again, but I have hundreds of videos which shows that it does not appear to indicate, the evidence does not indicate that it was directed and intentional. Look at my most recent videos. A little fire in front of my neighbor's house in their front yard. One just off the hillside, near the river, at the park. There is no target there. There is nothing being attacked. Thus, and the hundreds of other videos that I have that are just random fence posts here and a tree there, show that these cannot be directed and certainly are not weaponized because there is no target. They seem random. 99.9% of my videos indicate that these fires that I call plasma fires are unintentional and non-directed. And the whole directed energy weapon is very likely another red herring to lead you to erroneous conclusions. So they would much rather you think that someone's at the controls of these weapons, pulling the levers and pushing the buttons. So you will go to the government for protection, thinking that they can put a stop to it if they find the right guy. They don't want you knowing they have no control over any of this, or they will have no control over any of you. You will be ungovernable. That is why directed energy weapon is a blue herring. Food in a bowl in the microwave, and it cooks the food and does not cook the plastic bowl that the food is in. So direct their attention toward the electricity part of these fires, not the color of things that didn't burn. Those things that didn't burn, which happen to be blue, are much more likely to not have burned because of the composition of the material they're made of, like plastic, like putting that plastic bowl in the microwave and watching the food in it boil, but the plastic bowl remains unheated. So many people saw this demonstration where they put a little laser light and pass it across all these pieces of cloth, and the blue one didn't burn. That combined with 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 blue things that didn't burn, and they're hot on the trail of a blue herring. The idea of a red herring is that before the fox hunters in Britain would go out, they'd round up their horses and they'd release a fox in the forest and then take their bloodhounds to hunt down the fox. The people for ethical treatment of animals don't like to see the fox getting ripped apart by the dogs, so they'd run around in the forest with a red herring, a piece of smoked salted herring, and rub it all over the trees and the plants and sprinkle little pieces of it here and there so that the bloodhounds pick up the scent of the herring and start following that trail and do not follow the fox. That is what this blue herring is that they've released into the truther community. A false lead, a false clue to lead you to false conclusions and to redirect you onto a different path. It is a red herring, a blue herring. And then Biden even jumped in and added to it saying, yeah, you got all these houses burned to the ground, but one that's completely fine because it's got the right roof. He didn't say the word blue, but he was adding to that. He was trolling everyone with the same blue herring. Oh, if you just paint your roof blue, you'll be fine. Focus on the electricity part of these fires, not the color of things that didn't burn. You take those pieces that I have into a courtroom, you can prove to the average person this is electricity flowing through this wood. All you have to do from that point is go out into the area where the accused arsonist is accused of burning things and pull these same pieces of wood out of the forest that show it is electricity flowing through the wood, therefore this guy could not have done this. Boom. He's off. Free. Exonerated. Innocent man no longer goes to jail because you focused on the electricity going through the wood. You go in there and show them pictures of blue things that didn't burn, you're going to get laughed right out of the courtroom. And that's the idea. In this court of public opinion, they're introducing Exhibit B for the blue stuff. It's a blue herring. It's a red herring. The electricity is what you should be focused upon, not the color of things that didn't burn. So a person could email the legal defense counsel of these 71 accused arsonist scum and say, hey, look, I've got the evidence that gets your client out of jail, completely exonerates your client. All we have to do is go pull a couple pieces of wood from the burn area where your client is accused of arson and show that electricity is flowing through that wood. And to the average person who's not an electrician, they will be able to see that's electricity flowing through the wood. And then your client is off. But on the other hand, it might be the moral thing to let 71 people, they might even be volunteers. Someone could say, brother so-and-so from the Fraternal Order of the whatever brotherhood, we need you to catch an arson charge along with 70 other people. And the guy says, well, why? I mean, I don't need to know why. I'll accept without question. And the answer to why is so we can keep the other 8 billion people from turning into total savage animals and tearing each other apart. We're essentially saving them from themselves. Because if they discover what's happening worldwide, they will know that the government is no longer in control. They will no longer be governable. And suddenly society and civilization as we know it unravels. The fabric of society unravels. So we need to be able to point at these 71 arsonist scum. Even though once you get to court, we won't actually put you in jail. We just need you to catch the charge so we can create the headline in order to pacify the human livestock so they don't stampede because they're easily spooked. I'll talk more about this another time. But if a person were, an enterprising digital soldier, they could take this evidence, contact the legal counsel of those 71 arsonist scum. And I'm sure some of them even got the money to fly me and my little stockpile out there to give them Exhibit A, B, C, through Z in the courtroom. And go out there in the field of the place where the arsonist scum have been accused of lighting a fire and show. No human is capable of creating this kind of fire. It is electricity. This is not flame attacking the wood from the outside. It is electricity coming from the inside of the wood. Just saying. Don't follow the blue herring. And part of me, I'm torn between wake everyone up and keep them all in the dark. Yeah, we're too late in the game, and the culture of consciousness within the society is as such that if you let them in on the truth, they will tear each other apart. So it is morally and ethically sound. You are in fact obligated to keep them in the dark if you are capable of doing that type of thing, like putting a blue herring out there to make sure they don't follow the scent of the truth and reach the proper conclusions and understand that this is really going down worldwide, yeah, if you could, keep them in the dark. Make them think it was like 71 guys with lighters. Because if they find out the truth, there goes their whole world. You are saving them from themselves. And thus, if you have the means and the opportunity to do so, you are morally obligated to throw that blue herring in front of them, to make them go chase this false lead, in order to keep them from discovering the truth, in order to maintain some sort of society. Because if they discover the truth, it's the end of the world as everyone knows it.